Long before he became famous for amazing computers and phones, Steve Jobs was a curious boy growing up in California. He loved to tinker with electronics in his garage with his father, learning how things worked and dreaming about what they could become. This early curiosity sparked a passion that would change the world. As he grew older, Steve met Steve Wozniak, a brilliant engineer who shared his love for electronics. Wozniak was amazing at designing circuit boards and building complex machines, while Steve Jobs had a knack for seeing how those inventions could be packaged and sold to everyone. They made a perfect team. In 1976, the two Steves decided to start their own company. They called it Apple Computer and began building their first computers in Steve Jobs' family garage. It was a humble beginning for a company that would one day be known around the globe. Their first big success was the Apple II. It was one of the first personal computers that was easy for people to use at home or in schools. It came in a friendly plastic case, not just a bare circuit board, and quickly became very popular, helping Apple grow from a small startup into a big company. Steve Jobs had a vision for making computers even more friendly and powerful. He pushed his team to create the Macintosh, a revolutionary computer with a graphical interface and a mouse, making it incredibly simple for anyone to use. He believed computers should be for everyone, not just experts. However, as Apple grew, disagreements started to arise. Steve Jobs was known for his strong opinions and demanding style, always pushing for perfection. This sometimes caused clashes with other leaders at the company, including the CEO, John Sculley, whom Steve Jobs himself had hired. The disagreements between Steve Jobs and John Sculley grew more and more serious. Steve Jobs had bold visions for Apple's future, always pushing for revolutionary new products. But John Sculley, as CEO, had different ideas for the company's direction. The tension between them became too much, and sadly, Steve Jobs was eventually asked to leave the company he had helped create. It was a very difficult moment for him, as he had poured his heart and soul into building Apple. Feeling sad but determined, Steve Jobs left Apple. But he didn't give up on his passion for technology. He quickly started a new computer company called knack, where he aimed to build powerful computers for universities and businesses. Around the same time, Steve Jobs also bought a small computer animation company. He named it Pixar. At first, Pixar made special computer hardware, but Steve Jobs saw even greater potential in their animation talents. Under Steve Jobs' leadership, Pixar began to create groundbreaking animated movies. Their first feature film, Toy Story, released in 1995, was a huge success. It was the first full-length movie ever made completely with computer animation, telling a heartwarming story about toys that come to life. This film not only won over audiences and critics around the world, but also showed everyone that Steve Jobs was still a creative genius, even after leaving Apple. While Steve Jobs was busy building Next and Pixar, Apple began to struggle. The company had lost its way, releasing many different products that confused customers and didn't sell well. Apple was losing money and seemed to be on the brink of collapse. In a surprising turn of events, Apple decided it needed help. They looked to Next, the company Steve Jobs had created for its advanced software. Apple decided to buy Next, and with the acquisition, Steve Jobs returned to the company he founded. Steve Jobs first returned as an interim CEO, meaning he was temporarily in charge. He immediately began making big changes. He simplified Apple's product line, cutting many products that weren't doing well and focusing only on a few excellent ones. His first major success after returning was the iMac. This colorful, all-in-one computer was unlike anything else on the market. It was easy to use, stylish, and instantly popular, helping to bring Apple back into the spotlight. Steve Jobs didn't stop there. He introduced the iPod, a revolutionary device that put 1,000 songs in your pocket. It changed how people listened to music and became a massive hit, making Apple a leader in portable electronics. Then came the iPhone, a device that completely changed the world. It combined a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator into one sleek, easy-to-use device with a touch screen. The iPhone launched Apple into an entirely new era of mobile technology. Steve Jobs continued to innovate with products like the iPad and the App Store, which allowed millions of creative apps to be downloaded. He transformed Apple from a struggling computer company into one of the most valuable and influential companies in the world. Steve Jobs' story is a powerful reminder that even after setbacks, like being fired from your own company, you can return stronger than ever. He showed the world the importance of believing in your ideas, even when others don't, and always striving for excellence.